3 wide.
Oh, Hamlin.
Teammates, Denny Hamlin and Tony Stewart. Stewart, who was going for his 3rd straight win.
Oh, they're still wrecking. There's Junior.
It's what Kyle talked about on the pre-race show. There's one wreck, and then there's the follow-up wreck. And Junior is in it.
Reed Sorensen also in it.
And that's a perfect example of the wreck being at the front of the pack. And people behind them trying to avoid them running over each other.
Well, as you can see, Stewart had no place to go. He had no time to even react.
Denny Hamlin, last week's winner. Steering wheel off.
See, 11 car. Stewart's got a really good run, and it looked like he got in the back of the 11 car, Kyle.
Yeah,
that wasn't an arrow loose. That was a touch.
As a car owner, that is a nightmare come to life.
Nightmare, exactly. And see, these guys back here, like I was talking about, everybody's checking up, and they got no place to go.
On board with Tony Stewart.
Definitely contact there. They just, you know, he had a good run. You know, that's when you're making time up on a guy like that. You know, sometimes when you're coming up on him, especially in the corner, you'll get that guy loose. And Hamlin may have had to lift just a little bit because Tony Stewart got him loose to begin with. But still, in the end result, he hit him.
And you don't expect somebody to lift that late up off the corner either. Now, I'm going to give Tony the benefit of the doubt on that one. Once you get out that far, you figure you got 15, 20 feet to catch it if it jumps out from under you. It's not going to go all the way to the top of the racetrack. Look how many cars are on pit road over here to the right. Look how many cars just came down pit road, locked it down, and came down pit road.
You can come down pit road. You must make an attempt to reduce your speed. You can also go below that yellow line, which is out of bounds normally, but you can go below it to avoid the wreck. Matt Kenseth through the grass, Greg Biffle through the grass. Larry?
Guys, let's go back to the Daytona 500 in February. Obviously much later in the race than this, but it was almost reversed. Tony Stewart was leading late in the race, right there in turn 3 and 4, got a little loose. Kurt Busch gets into him. Both of those guys get taken out, and they had the 2 best cars in the Daytona 500. Ralph Shaheen.
Well, Larry, the 20 is into the pit road here, and they're thinking now they're going to probably have to go to the garage. They've got heavy damage to the left front of this car. They've got the right side of the car jacked up. There's heavy damage over there as well. This car is going to have a lot of work done to it, Marty.
And further up pit road, Ralph Dale Earnhardt Jr. sits here trying to get his race cars fixed as well. Jr. actually said, let's take our car to the garage and maybe fix it there. Tony Eury Jr. overruled that a little bit, trying to keep him out on the racetrack as much as he could. You see them trying to bang out that damage on the right rear. There's also more significant damage on the left front of the race car, right behind that left front wheel. They're going to have to work on that as well. They're trying to get the right side fixed here first. You see them working on that damage. They'll put on right side tires, send him back out, and the next time they would like to come and work on the left side. But you can see that right rear significantly wrinkled up on the Budweiser Chevrolet. It's going to take a lot of work to get that car raceable once again.
Thanks, Marty. Stay with him down there.
This is at the back of Junior's car. You see, he
in front of you, go low, go low, go low.
Oh, and that's what happened. Somebody drilled the 43 car, Bobby Labonte, and ran into Junior.
And you know, on one of the replays, I thought Bobby had done a great job staying out of it, but evidently Reed Sorensen got into the back of the 43, it looked like, drove the 43 back into Junior, and then the 41 of Reed Sorensen got into Junior. But that's what we talked about earlier. There were 2 distinct crashes there, 2 totally different wrecks, but all the cars ended up in one big pile right down here in the grass.
The first one starts, and then the second one breaks out.
I need a patch made for that fender right there.
You know, and you heard him say something about Junior as they come to pit road about wanting to take it to the garage area. As a driver, you don't know how bad the damage is, but they preach to you in the driver's meeting, minimum speed. If you can't maintain it, they're going to park you. That's your big concern.
Lindsay.
I don't have Jeff Burton is in, and he was saying before they were just a little bit tight. There you see them working on the left side of his car, changing left side tires. Matt.
Jimmy Johnson wants to try to stay ahead of the curve, making a track bar adjustment, knowing this racetrack will get tighter later on. The 29 of Harvick, no adjustments. He hit pit road in the lead.
Jamie McMurray into the grass.
Boy, a couple guys in the grass here. Jeff Burton also in the grass.
We saw that earlier in the day during the Busch race, but The clarification that we got from David Hoots from NASCAR was you can't just come at somebody and pull out on them and pass them in the grass just because they're running slower than pit road speed. But if you're forced out into the grass because somebody's pulling out, then it's okay to escape into the grass. And I think that's what we saw there with people escaping into the grass.
David Hoots, the series race director. Elliott Sadler very slow off of pit road. Remember, he has no first or second gear. It's Kevin Harvick.
And that's a classic example that Kyle was talking about. All Burton was doing was avoiding a wreck right there on pit lane.
With his teammate.
Yeah.
NEXTEL Cup fans, the Sprint Speed Million presented by Motorola Sweepstakes is coming your way on July 15th.
Coming this summer, 12 lucky fans, $1 million at stake. And the most important phone call ever.
Hey, buddy, it's Denny. Hello? Hello?
The Sprint Speed Million, presented by Motorola Sweepstakes. The sweepstakes starts July 15th.
So cleanup continues here at Daytona after a multi-car crash that has included Dale Earnhardt Jr., Tony Stewart, Denny Hamlin, Reed Sorensen, Bobby Labonte. Required to take 3 local cable breaks an hour for your local cable operator. That's the only time we'll break away from the action. Wide open coverage on TNT continues in 90 seconds.